I want to give a little encouragement to any parents watching right now. I can't imagine how difficult it's been to go through your broken marriage, to go through a divorce perhaps. And I want you to know I'm so sorry for what you've been through. I can't imagine what that's been like. I've tasted how challenging marriage can be, but I haven't been through that experience. In the midst of this situation where you're really struggling in your marriage, I want to give you a really unpopular piece of advice, and that is to fight for your marriage. Again, it's not popular to say this. One of the best things you can do for your kids, absent any abuse or violence, of course, is to fight for your marriage, to heal your marriage. Honestly, again, absent abuse or violence, your kids don't really care about the struggles that you're going through. And so it's really helpful for us to see mom and dad stick it out, even if things aren't perfect at home. There's a misconception that if there's some conflict or dysfunction at home, it's going to be worse on the kids than in a situation where there is a divorce. But that's only true in really, really intense dysfunctional situations where there needs to be safety or at least a break from the intensity of the situation. A few resources to help you fight for your marriage. One is the book Impossible Marriages Redeemed by Layla Miller. Impossible Marriages Redeemed, They Didn't End the Story in the Middle is the title. It just features stories of really broken marriages that were able to heal the marriage and to honestly build a really happy, fulfilling relationship. Another resource is the Alexander House. The Alexander House is run by Greg and Julie Alexander. Now, they were on the brink of getting divorced. Their marriage was truly on its last thread. In fact, they both were cheating on each other. It all came to light. It was a huge mess. They had kids as well. And so in the process of seeking a divorce, they met a Catholic priest who actually challenged them to discover what's God's plan for marriage. When he invented this thing, what did he have in mind? And so through that process, they were able to heal their marriage. And now they coach struggling couples. And for the last 20 years, they've helped over 5,000 couples. And I kid you not, their success rate at helping the couple heal the marriage and come back together is 98%. And so you can check them out at the Alexander House. You can just Google the Alexander House. And just to be clear, on the topic of abuse, if that's happening right now to you, please get to safety. That should go without saying. We're not saying in any way that you should stay in an abusive situation. Get to safety. And again, I'm so sorry for what you're going through. I can't imagine what that's like. You don't deserve this. You deserve better. And your spouse shouldn't treat you this way. That should be extremely clear. For everyone else watching, when we talk about divorce, a really common situation that comes up is the situation of abuse. And it's really interesting to note that one of the leading researchers on divorce estimates that about 70% of divorces actually don't have any abuse within them. There wasn't a lot of overt fighting and drama in the marriage. There wasn't a ton of conflict. There wasn't abuse. There wasn't violence or anything like that. These are situations where, at least theoretically, the couple could have stayed together and fight through it, but they just chose not to go that route. On the flip side, 30% roughly of divorces are high conflict divorces where there's a lot of overt fighting, a lot of drama, conflict, abuse, and perhaps even violence and the threat of death. And so obviously in those situations, you need to get to safety. But what I'm about to say is really unpopular. Even in those situations where you've separated from your spouse in a valid marriage, the challenge is to stay true to your wedding vows, even if your spouse is not staying true to their wedding vows. This is very unpopular. It seems so unfair, doesn't it? I agree that it seems completely unfair, but it is heroic, and it will leave such an impact on your kids. It will show them that vows matter, promises matter, that even if your spouse is not being true to their wedding vows, you can be true to yours. And I cannot express how heroic and how impactful that will be for your kids. Now, to those of you who are trying to help parents, maybe you want to say some things to a parent that you know who's on the brink of divorce or going through a divorce, a few things for you to know. One, help them understand the real impact that this divorce, that their broken marriage has on their kids now and in the future. You can share some of the studies, some of the stories that we've shared in this course with them, or some of the other resources that we've mentioned. Remind them of their role. Remind them that they can really help to mitigate the negative effects that their kids, on average, will experience. And though the research is depressing, they really need to know that they can prevent a lot of those problems, basically by being an engaged parent, by paying attention to what's happening in their kids' lives, inside their kids' hearts, and just pursuing their kids, taking interest in their lives, and really trying to love and help them in a healthy and engaged way. Remind them not to sugarcoat or gaslight. That's been a theme in this course. It's really important for them not to make light of the situation or to pretend that the way that they feel about the divorce is the way that their kids feel too. It's almost never the case. And so it's important not to sugarcoat, not to say things like, aren't you happy for me? Or isn't everyone happier because of this situation? Really harmful to say things like that. And so don't make assumptions about the way your kids feel either. You can say this to any parents you're trying to help. Ask them, let them tell you. They might not tell you right away. It might take them some time to open up. That's not unusual. And don't be overbearing with them either. Don't try to constantly check on your kids and maybe ask if they're fine, especially if they keep denying the request to open up and talk. Give them some space. Often our parents are not the ones that we need to talk to first about what we're going through. We might need to talk to someone else first and then approach you. But that obviously does depend on the relationship that we have with one of our parents. Give them a reputation to live up to. Give the parents a reputation to live up to. In the book, How to Win Friends and Influence People, Dale Carnegie articulates this principle. He says that, for example, let's say there's a person and you call them a generous person. And in a scenario, let's say, where the two of you are able to be generous, it's much more likely, because you see them as a generous person, that they will be more likely to be generous. And so basically you give them a reputation to live up to. And what you can say in a situation like that is, I know you're a dedicated parent who loves their children. That dedication and that love is going to go a long way. And so it makes it more likely that that parent is going to act dedicated and to love their children because you see them that way. You've given them a reputation to live up to. Challenge them to look beyond their own pain. It's so easy when we're all going through suffering in life to really just become focused on ourselves, on our own pain. But as a parent especially, they need to look beyond their own pain to help their children. And naturally, they need help for themselves and to deal with that pain. But it's like a soldier in the midst of battle. If they get injured, they may need to help their fellow soldier who might be more injured than them and who really needs their help. Help the parent that you're trying to help get as much support as possible aside from relying on their kids. Again, this could be a therapist, it could be a relative, a friend, a pastor, someone who's in a position to really offer the help that they need and hopefully fill some of those emotional needs that they have so they don't end up bringing those to their kids. Overall, the most important thing you can do in encouraging parents is just reminding them that they play a very unique role, that they have a power to help their children overcome and even mitigate some of these negative effects that often come from one's parents' divorce. And at the end of the day, they might feel very depleted. They might be in a lot of pain, but their kids need them to rise to the occasion and love them in the way that no one else can love them.